Movie Wars.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Movie Wars podcast. We're back. I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
And we have one of our amazing comedian friends, Will Abeles.
Hagerstown.
Yes.
Oh my god, I was like, what intro?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I was like, what are you about to say?
We're gonna
we have
no, bro.
Sorry.
No, only with a few comedians.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you guys.
Speaking of Pride of Hagerstown, that's his special. It's one of the best specials. I loved watching it.
Oh, thank you.
And I also get to see the material live sometimes, so that's good too. So they can find it YouTube, right?
And also YouTube.
And also,
There we go.
You haven't put it on Spotify?
Oh yeah, it's on Spotify. Yeah, that's true.
Apple.
That is-
I think that's how I first. I think I've
you listened
listened
to
to
it.
half of it, and I think I watched half of it. I'm trying to remember how I did it.
Oh, that's great. I like that.
Yeah.
It's also one of those that if you download it on if you still have iTunes, if you still have Apple, it's one of those because of my name. If you turn your car on and it automatically connects to your phone, you get to hear one of my jokes like immediately.
Oh,
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
It happens to me sometimes, and I'm like, I've taken Apple off my phone,
Yeah.
so I don't have to hear my own joke.
Well, I listened to all the setups and then I watched all the punchlines. So
Oh, yeah.
It was a really
Oh,
cool
there you go.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that extra effort. That
Yeah.
You're just sitting here like, and
With German subtitles.
Yeah.
yeah, perfect.
No, it's funny. You. I'm not gonna spoil a bit because I want you to go watch it for the first time. But you have so many bits I really like. Your dad, stuff about your dad, and like playing
God, I know.
baseball. Like some of the bits you have, I'm just like, dude, I just relate to that so hard.
It's a good time.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna spoil the bits though. Go check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. So we're talking about Collateral today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited because I feel like, and we talked about this with Drive, so like 80% of the movies take place in Los Angeles, basically.
Used to, at least. They don't film there anymore,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard.
Even if it takes place in Los Angeles, that was New Mexico.
Yeah.
Or
New
that was
Mexico,
Ireland.
Or Vancouver.
Or Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because they've made it impossible to make movies, even for big budget movies, to be affordable in LA. Thank you, Hollywood.
But hey, the tariffs are going to save us.
Yes, they will. Yes. We're going to tariff all of the
Thank
things.
you, John Voight.
Yeah, thanks, John Voight.
Yeah, you can't go to Dubai and film this scene anymore. You have to do it in Culver City.
Yeah. I'm from Arkansas. There's a lot of free land, man. There's just cotton fields and diamond mines there. And,
Arkansas is so sketchy that even Ozark went and filmed in Georgia.
Yes, I know. And there's a city called Ozark, and it looks exactly like the show.
Yeah.
It looks exactly like Missouri.
Why don't they film? Like I know, like Georgia's got it's got it together. Why don't they ever film anything in Tennessee?
They do sometimes. They used to more, but the tax incentives have gotten worse.
Oh, that's
But I mean, we obviously had Nashville film here for the longest time. Still the King
the
filmed
show,
here
right,
for a while. We had some random. I worked on plenty of pilots that never went through, but we had a lot of work
The Green Mile.
that was happening. The Green Mile was shot here.
Renard
Yeah.
was in it.
Was he
He
really?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was one of the prisoners, jackhammering.
Yeah. The 1994 Jungle Book was shot in Tennessee, not Nashville specifically, but Tennessee.
The Jungle Book, like the cartoon.
No, the one with Jason Scott Lee and Carrie Elwes and Sam Neill and John Cleese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't know. I'd have
Great
to,
movie.
I'd have to
We
rewatch
need to
that.
cover that one day
Yeah.
because that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, there used to be a lot, and just over the last several years, it's kind of died down. But I think with Nashville 911 coming here, it'll hopefully start picking
Oh,
back
okay,
up.
cool.
Yeah.
How many cameos do you think Morgan Wallen's going to make on that show?
Exactly 3.
Yeah.
It's always
All
gonna
of
be
them
him
are going to be chair related.
always getting arrested so he can like up his bad boy
Yeah.
reputation with his cute little boots. And
They're
his,
all the 911 calls are going to be for the Nashville Predator Morgan Wallen.
I have never got to tell this story, but it's funny. I have this hilarious. I was in a Morgan Wallen music video, and
Hell yes.
because my friend owns a barbershop, and
just keep going.
and it's, does he look like he gets haircuts? No, and I guess he does recently. I guess I don't like country music, so I don't give a shit. But my friend was like, "Hey, I know you want a free haircut," and I was like, "Sure. What do I have to do?" Because I was like, "That's a weird thing to say. You want to get a free haircut?" It's not like, "Hey, do you want a free ride?" Or and so I was like, "Sure." What I do is like, and this is kind of as he was blowing up, but I still had never heard his name. It was like, there's this guy named Morgan Wallen, and he booked the place to do a music video shoot for Spotify.
No way.
And so it was like the Spotify collaboration. And I show up, and they sit me right next to Morgan Wallen.
Nice.
And he I guess they had already told him I'm a stand-up comedian.
Oh, okay.
And so
Did
he's
he
like,
just start saying the N-word to you like immediately?
Immediately, just he had a sign
You got a
actually.
problem with y'all can't say anything anymore.
You just can't say anything.
Well, like what specifically, Morgan? What can't we say?
Yeah.
Well,
What are the words?
are you filming?
Jugs. We can't say the word jugs anymore.
I had someone say it to me on my Lyft. I was driving for Uber yesterday, and he was like, he found out I was a comedian. He was from Charlotte. He was from Charlotte, and it was like an older guy, white hair. And you ever find a problem that you can't like tell jokes about black people anymore? And I was like, that's where you're going with this? I was like, what?
Wow.
Like that specifically is what he said. He was like, yeah, you find it like hard. You can't say what you like want to say on stage. You know, like people get all offended by it. Like, you know, you can't tell jokes about black people. And I was like, that's it. That's all you want.
Yeah.
Who starts a conversation like that? I
Yeah.
just sat down.
Are there any other people you'd like to add to the equation that we can't talk about? Because right now I'm feeling siloed right now.
Yeah. That's so ridiculous.
So anyway, I'm sitting next to Morgan Wallen, and he's a band is in the other seats, and it's me and a couple other people, and he's like asking me to tell jokes, and he keeps like prodding me to tell jokes, and he gets me in trouble. And Morgan Wallen laughed because his producer came over and says, "If you don't shut up, I'm going to kick you out of here." And I was like, fucking this guy
Yeah.
is the one making me tell jokes. He's like, asking me for material, and he's laughing, and he keeps prodding me, and then he starts talking to me about football, even while the camera guy is like starting to like filming, and it's the actual
Being
music
like,
video.
"Please stop doing this."
He's like, who do you like in football? I'm like, they're filming, Morgan.
That uncomfortable situation where you're like, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this, and you know I'm gonna get in trouble because no one's gonna say anything to you. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
all of that tracks. I believe every word of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
All right, we're rolling. Can you please stop? Can you please stop?
I want a free haircut, Morgan.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Collateral. That's why we get stand-up comedians on the show. You never know where it's going to go.
Exactly.
Back to L.A., though. When they did film, no one films L.A. like Michael Mann. Heat, Collateral. He has this. It's funny because he's from Chicago. He's born and raised. And you should listen to the commentary. Any commentary, Michael Mann. The dude's a historian.
Yeah.
The way he talks about film, he's so like when he talks. And there's a special technological feed on this movie with the digital camera they used. But just hearing him, even as a director,
They used the digital camera in 2004.
Yeah, it's one of the very first.
It really is. Oh my god,
yeah.
that's crazy.
But his familiarity, you would love it as a filmmaker. He knows the technology.
Oh yeah,
he's using like terminology for the lights I've never heard, and for the grain, and like he just is so like he knows every aspect of film history, filmmaking.
So he was very pro that movement because I remember I was at Emerson at the time, and I remember we had people come in and like furious about like red cameras and like just like and how much it could pick up, and they were like, yeah, if you want to see a guy drinking coffee 6 blocks away when we're trying to focus on the guy right ahead of him, yeah, go get a red camera. And I wasn't even a film guy, I was a TV guy, so I was like, what, this guy is furious.
Yeah,
but interesting because I do know that was like a big divide in film.
Oh, absolutely. Robert Rodriguez was definitely one of the earliest adopters. Found that out from the Joe Rogan interview. Spy Kids 3D was the first digital 3D movie ever.
They were filming 3D movies on film?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know
Jaws 3D was the first digital or the first analog 3D movie ever made.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay.
With
Yeah,
Dennis
I guess
Quaid.
now that I guess I was thinking 3D with like the other glasses, not the blue and red.
Oh, yeah.
glasses.
Yeah.
The
I guess
blue and
3D's
red.
been around for a while.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it was always used in the stupidest applications. Like when you watch Jaws 3D, it's such a shitty movie. And then the 3D is really shitty. It's like whenever they blow up the shark, the jaw of the shark just floats really close to the screen. You're like, oh!
Oh no.
I like that though.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
Great. I will agree with you though. The way it is shot, you really do get a sense for kind of like we were talking about with Drive, just kind of the sweaty nature, and I guess with Falling Down, like the sweaty nature of LA.
Yes.
It definitely compared to Falling Down. And I think there was one other LA-based movie that we watched, but it actually reminded me more of like GTA.
Yeah.
Just how smooth it was shot, and how like it got you into the underbelly, but it still felt a little bit romanticized.
Yes.
It didn't feel like they were really trying to get into the gritty parts of LA.
Gave you everything.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense if he's from Chicago. He would come into LA with this grand way of viewing it and want to
Romance
present
of
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like a mystical place.
Yeah, and Heat's the same way. Like the one of the most legendary scenes in film history is the shootout that just happens in the streets, and people
Yeah,
comment
yeah.
about how loud it is and how he wanted the echoes of those buildings to be captured, and they're loud, and you feel like you're like when you're watching it in the surround sound, you're like, oh my God, am I there? Like
Yeah.
even that, those are just commercial buildings in LA, but he felt like it had to be every time he films in LA, he's so good at featuring it.
Yeah.
And so I just always a feast.
Yeah.
Watching an LA movie by Michael
I
Mann.
understand the romance of LA because like I definitely had that before I had to go out there and start working.
Yeah.
Like even like the first few times I went out there and worked, it still had it, and it wasn't until like I lived there for like only 2 months, and like by the end of it, you were like,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah.
this relationship's over.
Yeah.
you know?
I've been there once. I was there for 4 days, and that was plenty of time for me to just get the vibe of the city. And I am going back later this year, but that's just to see 30 Seconds to Mars. So, I mean, it'll be a fun time. Yeah, LA is not one that has, granted, I didn't go to it back kind of like New York, like before COVID, when things still kind of had the little magical patina to it, where it was like, oh yeah, it could still be cool, even though it's still covered in shit.
Yeah.
Now it's just covered in shit.
Yeah, and the part I worked, like I very specifically, like most of the time I worked there, I was working on Hollywood Boulevard by like, I was either at Kimmel or I was at the Dolby Theater. So that's like a very, I mean, to me, that's still LA.
Yeah.
Like it's a very, because it's Hollywood, you know? I feel like once I got outside of that, I was malls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of strip malls here.
And they're all way too expensive.
Yeah. I can't afford to be this poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a comedy club in one of the strip, I forget what it's called now, but I remember like I got booked there and I was going to it. It's not like, it's like, not like, it's like a comedy club the way like, I mean, Third Coast is a better club than that, but like that idea where it's like not necessarily like a Zanies type, where it's like multiple clubs around the country, like an Improv or something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember like trying to find it and being like, where is this place? Like this is insane. I'm just at a strip mall, and then like seeing like a bunch of people walk out that I was like, that's an improv troupe.
Yeah.
and then realizing like the blacked out windows that was the club, and then you went in and it was actually really cool once you got inside. But
It was between a Wrangler and an Indian boutique.
honestly, something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. And I
Yeah.
forget what it was called off the top. Yeah.
And you said you had a Collateral story yourself.
It was like I've been driving for Uber Eats and that kind of thing for a while, but I finally got a nice enough car that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make some money.
He's graduated, y'all.
Yeah. Well, the reason I didn't want to do it for so long is just you can't control the chaos of what's about to happen.
No, I used to drive for Lyft, like 100%. It is, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and I do prefer Lyft passengers to Uber passengers.
Same.
I think Lyft is more local, and I think that's why. But
they're also just a slightly better company than company.
well, now I don't know what Uber did. I'm making bank on Uber at the moment.
I just meant in the fact that they cover up like sexual assault against passengers from their drivers and that kind of shit.
Yeah, sure. That checks out. Well, and also Uber gets in trouble every 6 months, and then they're like, "Hey, you come work for us. You'll make a bunch of money." And I think I've just discovered that, and I don't know what happened. So I'll go look it up later.
Yeah.
After I've made my millions, after I've paid for this tour.
Yeah.
But yeah. So oh god. And it's one of those things where like as I get older, I have like I was actually thinking about this today. At some point, I don't think trauma exists anymore. I think it's just our day to day.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point where we can't go like, oh, that was a traumatic event. You just have to go, nope, that's life. This is what life is now.
Yeah. Scars on scars.
Yeah, where it's just to a point where you're like, I haven't healed from the last 6 years, let alone what happened 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So it was like 11 o'clock on a Thursday. I don't normally drive past 11, and it was, Nashville's a fairly safe city, but there are certain pockets that you go, I don't want to be driving here at a certain point. And I was like, it's 11 o'clock. And I come pulling up, and I looked like a party was letting out, and it's like my last one. So like, I'm seeing people hanging out or whatever, and this guy comes up to the door and he starts smoking a joint at the door, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be sitting here for a minute. So he's like yelling back at the people sitting on the stoop, and I just think they're still just having a conversation. I just think it's like the end of a party, they're drunk, whatever. And then finally he like throws the joint down, gets in the car, and he's like, man, turn this up. And I was like listening like Sturgill Simpson. It was not like, and not like his rock album,
Yeah.
like it was like In Bloom,
Like worship.
yeah. And so I turn it up, and then I turn the car around, and honestly, I should have just driven away because it took him so long to get in. But I would have had to like go up, turn around, get around. Like it was not easy. And he gets in, tells me to turn it up. I start pulling out, and he goes, man, turn that down. So I turn it down, and then he's like, man, what did he say? He was like, man, I don't know, end of like he said something, and then he was like, He was like, yeah, that guy just punched me in the face. And I was like, what? And he goes, look at my eye, motherfucker. And I turn around and his like orbital bone is like he's got this lump sticking out from under it. Like his orbital bone's clearly cracked and it's
God.
well, and I was like, oh my God, dude, you want me to take you to the hospital? He's like, no, you're driving me home. I'm getting my gun. I'm coming back and I'm motherfucker.
Oh my God.
And I was like, all right, 13 more minutes to go on this drive.
Wow.
And now we're on the highway. He's behind me. And the guy is drunk. He's high. He's clearly concussed, you know? And so he's just not making sense. He's talking about P. Diddy. He's talking about like, and it was like one of these things where he kind of ramble, and then go, and know what else? And you're like, what? And then he just go on a ramble, you know, but he's saying some really like horrible things. And then he starts telling me his plan to kill this guy, tells me his brother's name, his brother's going to help him. And then I hear him something like mumble something about $40,000. What was that? I missed that.
Oh, God.
And then we get a little closer and he's like, yeah, man, I'll give you 20 grand if you pick up my brother and like give us a minute to get our stuff and come back and kill this guy. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is the worst criminal ever because the whole thing is being documented as I'm driving around for Uber. And also, like, I'm in a bright green Subaru.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a car that, like, oh, man, there's so many, you know,
not like a gray
silver
Impala.
Camrys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, no, there's 3 of these in the whole city, and we're going to figure out which one drives for Uber, and the whole case is done, you know? And so, like, keeps going. And then he's like, gets out of the car, immediately takes a piss. We're at his place. He takes a piss. So I can't drive away because he's got the door open, taking a piss, basically on my wheels. And I was like, this sucks.
Oh, my God.
And then he's like, all right, yes. So 20 grand. You know what? I can do 40. I'll do 40 grand. You just like wait a couple minutes. And I was like, I just looked at him and went, no, man. And he was like, shh, I knew you were a practical guy. And he was like, hey, I like you, but check the news tomorrow because I'm going to kill this motherfucker. And then he like shuts my door and walks away.
Oh, my God.
And then I like I picked up one more thing. So I had a reason to be like, no, I got to go, man. I got to pick up somebody, you know? And I pick up like this old guy who's just got off work and, you know, gets in the car and he's had like one of those 12-hour days. You can tell he's been living life like this for like 50 of his 70 years. He just gets in, he's tired. He's like, how's your day been? I was just like, it's fine. How was
You're already a much better passenger.
Yeah. So that was my collateral.
Damn.
And the funny thing is, he like where he lives, I pass that place all the time. Like it's a very popular area. And I was like, he kept telling me he owned the building, and I was like, You would be so easy to find if you killed this guy.
Yeah.
Like if you actually own this building and everything, like I was like, you seem like the worst criminal that's ever existed.
That's insane. At least it wasn't Tom Cruise with a terrible dye job.
Yeah. There's a reason behind that dye job.
That kept me from seeing that movie for so long.
Really?
Seriously, that was like why I was like, it doesn't look like
It's one of Tom Cruise's best performances. I love
He did a really good job, but the dye job, I'm curious to hear why that happened that way.
What if he brought it back now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't age, and he's still hanging off the sides of planes doing stunts.
Yeah.
Oh, so insane.
The whole suit, I don't even have a rando for it. I'll go into it now. The reason he did the gray hair and the gray suit is because, and this is how crazy specific Michael Mann is. This is why I think you'd love the commentary. Yeah. He purposely, for one example, Michael Mann wanted him to have a finely tailored suit.
Yeah.
But he did not want it to look like it was tailored in New York or London. It's a specifically like a Thailand cut.
Oh.
Like it's like what you would see.
It's got to be West Coast then.
Yeah, well, like actually in Bangkok though, because he wanted to put off the idea that when he's not here doing jobs, he lives in Thailand.
Got it.
Okay.
And he dyes his hair and the goatee because he wanted him to be just grayed out so that he just kind of fades into the background.
That makes sense.
This is a guy who just kind of weaves in and out because Michael Mann says it. He's like, he probably doesn't actually have gray hair. He says, but we just needed him to be, because think about it. It's like if a guy in a taxi cab shoots a bunch of people and he's seen, and you have to describe him as a guy with gray hair and a gray suit.
Yeah.
It's like, you're never going to fucking find that guy.
Yeah.
And then he flies back to Thailand. So,
which, I got to say, he just looked like a poorly aged Tony Stark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was so, it makes sense, but I don't know. I think it could
Little distracting?
Little distracting.
Little distracting?
Yeah.
I think if it wasn't Tom Cruise, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
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 You know, like I think it's one of those where it's just because he's such a distinct looking person.
Yeah.
You see him in, like,
well, you say that though, but the whole time for like the first 15 minutes that Mark Ruffalo was in the movie, I was like, why does this guy look like Michael Pena?
Yeah, he did.
He looked so much like Michael Pena. It took me so long to realize that it was Mark Ruffalo.
You know what's funny? You actually made me think of a really interesting point. Like pre-internet, Tom Cruise, like there are people whose personalities precede them
Yeah.
in such a way that even when you're watching them on screen pretend to be something else, it's kind of hard to forget who they are.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, before the age of the internet, was that person.
Yeah.
With
Really?
the Katie Holmes stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And the Nicole Kidman stuff and that shit was like he was the celebrity that people obsessed over for years.
Oh, yeah.
While the internet was coming in, like you just would hear things about like Scientology and all the things, and so like
You're glib.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. Some people, it's kind of hard to shake the personality stuff that you know about.
Yeah.
Because people like hated him for a minute too. There was like when people like I remember when Mission Impossible came out. One of the Mission. I don't remember which one. I think it was
Probably
maybe
2 because it was awful.
Oh no, it was past that because I remember that's when I would hear people be like, "Oh, I just won't see Tom."
Yeah,
And I remember in my head being like, "Is it like?" It was like before cancel culture too.
yeah.
Where in my
Yeah.
mind, where I was like, "Am I a bad person for seeing him?" I still kind of like him.
It was
And-
probably all the Scientology stuff.
Oh, but yeah, no, it was 100% the Scientology
Yeah.
stuff.
It was.
Yeah.
He tried to turn Katie Holmes into a Scientology wife and try to get her inducted into it. That's at least what I heard. I don't keep
Yeah.
up with celebrity shit, but I guess then I did.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And he brought her to Nashville, that empty building that I'm convinced nothing's in. They just own the building.
My
Yeah.
friend has gone to that, and they actually do meet.
There's 5 people.
No, it's a whole
it's
fucking
full.
congregation.
Yeah.
yeah.
But literally, he said the moment he walked in the door, like 4 people tried to get his email address.
Yeah, I had some friends sit in on it once, and they said they had to watch a movie, and it's like it was just the 2 of them in a theater, and they were like, "We're being watched."
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Was it Vanilla Sky? Oh, maybe you've been abducted by a man with a bad dye job and a Bangkok suit.
Yeah.
And you haven't shared Movie Wars yet. And in your last dying breath, that's what you're going to say. You're going to say, I should have shared Movie Wars. And then some guy's going to kill you because you're not doing a very good driving him around.
Yeah.
You're not doing a good job. Share
And then you wreck the car and flip him, and then he somehow survives, and you somehow survive and almost get arrested.
And you didn't watch Will's special.
Yeah.
You are not the pride of Hagertown. You are, did I say it
shame.
right?
Hagerstown. Yeah.
Hagerstown. Sorry, I
Yeah,
always
yes,
fucking
that's
say
right.
it wrong.
You are the shame
You are the shame of that town.
of
And
that town.
You of that town. You deserve everything coming your way. Share Movie Wars. Love you.
See, I love that you said that because that is my villain arc.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is what I want. I want to become so famous that at some point I do become the shame of Hagerstown.
Yes.
There you go.
And then I have to, then I have to Robert Downey Jr. it and completely like.
Yeah.
There you go.
LeBron James it
Yeah.
for like Cleveland. Yeah.
Come all the way back.
I do like that art. And then along the way you pick up like a hybrid religion.
Yeah.
Like an East mysticism, Christianity, some strange politics from Greenland
Yeah.
mold.
Russell
a
Russell
little
Brand, but
enlightenment in
less
there.
rapey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just like some enlightenment. Like they're like, oh, what got you? Like, how did you find enlightenment?
Yeah.
They're like, I just stopped drinking.
I became the shame. I became the shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I became the shame. And then I got so dark when you had. Yeah, I actually took the Aaron Rodgers model.
Yeah.
And I just sat in a cave for 3 days. It came out and was like, I should go to the Jets.
That documentary, my wife may be watching. I love football, but I was like, I don't want to hear Aaron Rodgers talk for
It's a documentary.
Yeah, it's like a
I don't think I
3-part.
knew that.
It's really interesting, but the funniest takeaway for me was like the whole thing's about him doing ayahuasca is he wanted to find himself and become a better person.
Yeah.
He just becomes more annoying and a worse person. But the whole time he's talking about how he's becoming a better person.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, stop doing ayahuasca. It's actually making you worse. You're
Honestly, with some celebrities, like especially like athletes, I don't think we need to put pressure on them to be like good or bad people to a degree.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because you have to your whole life has to be just football
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
basketball when you're coming up until you get to a certain point, and then there's like a 13-year career where like you're doing just commercial. Like your only escape from football is like doing a commercial.
Yeah.
You know, and then you don't really have any time. It's like child actors. When they
Yeah.
become like crazy at 25 or 26, it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because they were expected to be a 30-year-old man when they were 8.
Yeah.
You know, like they've lost their childhood. They
They
don't
had to
know
pay
how to
taxes at 7.
Yeah, like they don't know how to be a person. So I really don't think we should ever be like
Yeah.
when like Aaron Rodgers is like, hey, this is the thing I'm doing. We're all like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does suck, but also
Yeah.
we shouldn't be making a documentary about it in the first place.
yeah.
You know?
No, it's a good point. Yeah.
This is on us.
Especially, and it's like, and I hate politicians. I hate all of them. I don't care
Yeah.
what side. Like, I hate them all.
Yeah.
And fuck them. And
Guess I'm not making that endorsement.
I
later.
just even decided I'm not even an independent anymore because that like suggests that there's a Venn diagram in the middle that you can maybe take the best. There's no.
Yeah.
There is,
Oh yeah, because then you can't vote. Because I was an independent for a long time. Because I was like, I here. Like when I was like 18, and they were like, "Hey, you're 18 years old. You should make a decision that's going to affect the rest of your life." And I was like, "No problem."
Yeah.
So I remember I stayed independent, and then when I was like But back then, voting was a little different because, like, and so,
Yeah.
But yeah, and then eventually they're like, "Yeah, you can't vote in the." And you're like, "Oh, so literally I can't do anything."
Yeah. Yeah. They'd like shame you out of it.
But then you do vote Democrat, and then they're like, "No, you still can't do anything." And you're like, "Oh, okay, none of this matters."
Yes.
All right.
I can't remember where I was going with that point. What was I saying?
You hate politicians and something about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, but you kind of alluded to this earlier about trauma. It's just like you just have to like come to terms with the fact that like to do certain things, you just have to. There's an archetype.
Yeah.
Like to become a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you got to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos didn't get there and be like, "Hey, let me walk you across the street."
Yeah.
You know,
If you're gonna become Garth Brooks, there's gonna be some bodies.
Gonna be some bodies, Garth. Where are they?
Where are the bodies, Garth?
And the thing is, like,
been
even
to
if
your
you
bar,
tried to
it
be like
sucks.
the purest, even if you tried to be like the purest politician you possibly could be, there's no way. Like, it doesn't matter.
You won't get
like,
anything done.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter who. Like, everyone's gonna come up to you and be like, "You have to take this money.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to vote this way, and you have to take this money, and we will give you this thing. But
Yep.
you have to have this horrible thing on your record too.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're like a one-term senator.
Boo. The questions.
The questions.
The questions. Is the least believable thing about this movie a cabbie getting getting the DA's phone number?
I mean, it is Jamie Foxx we're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter if he looks slightly like Eddie Murphy in this movie. He's still getting numbers.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, I have the DA of New York's number.
There you go.
It's not that.
Well, you are the pride of Hagerstown.
You
so,
are.
I mean,
Yeah, and I know some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you start walking around, you're throwing out the first pitch at a minor league
Yeah.
stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. That changes your trajectory.
I think it is. I think it's like. One
was
of
it
those where you
minor
just-
league or
Yeah.
were there minors playing? And
Oh,
it
the
was
little
a little
league,
league
yeah,
game.
It was actually a little league. Like they asked me to not do it.
Yeah.
I just walked in. I was like, "Hold up, kid, I'm throwing the first pitch." Like the game started.
Move, Jimmy.
It's the third inning.
Look, I made out your sister once. Give it that way.
Yeah, this made me think of other cab movies. My second favorite movie of all time is Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
And like you look at Robert De Niro in that movie, it's like, yeah, he wasn't getting nobody's numbers unless it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie looks a little too good to be. And listen, I'm not trying to shit on cab drivers. I'm just saying, like, I've taken many cabs in
Yeah.
New York, and I'd never got the Jamie Foxx
Hey,
cabbie
it was
archetype.
temporary.
It was.
It was temporary, and it was L.A. It wasn't New York.
That's true. I actually never took a cab in L.A.
I don't.
I took plenty of Ubers.
Yeah,
Definitely
Lyft,
got driven
yeah.
by a guy who grows mushrooms, and he invited me to come back and do yoga and take mushrooms with him.
Yeah.
So
No, Uber and Lyft were out by the time I got to LA, so I
Yeah.
don't think I took any cabs.
yeah.
Or we drove.
Mm.
Like that was I remember that being like, because I was in college the first time I went, and I remember being that like one of the taboo things were like, yeah, people drive here. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, I mean, we always have like a designated driver, but they still.
Yeah.
We were like, college kids. We were like,
Yeah.
what? This
Oh
is
my
crazy.
God.
Designated just means they can formulate sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they can do that,
Well, I remember there were some bars we went to that they were like, all right, who's your driver? And like they would give us a wristband, and like you go to the bar and they'd be like, yep, you're not drinking. And you'd be
Yeah.
like, how do I get this off? And you just rip it,
yeah. It's funny now. We both quit drinking.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, what's it all for?
Now I'm just driving like, ugh, this was way more fun before.
We're always designated.
I hate that I can remember this.
Yeah, it's so weird. I do love club
I
soda.
hate waking up and not being surprised that I got home. Yeah.
Like, whoa!
Like, yep, here we
It
are.
was something to look forward to.
Come out, the car's there. You're like, damn it.
Shit, I didn't run over anybody or anything. Very weird. Very weird.
Oh, no, I don't have any missing parts in my car.
Yeah.
My tires aren't shredded for some reason.
Oh, damn. There's not an entire deer embedded into my windshield.
Yeah, right. I'll deal with this one tomorrow. Made it home, though. I'm like on my neighbor's driveway.
Second question. So there is this undertone. You kind of alluded to it with it being Jamie Foxx because he was a stand-up comedian. I
Yeah.
guess he still is. I guess he's still trying to do stuff.
He did a one-man show. It was
Yeah.
definitely not strictly stand-up. It was a one-man show, kind of like very funny TED Talk kind of situation.
Is that also the one where he had like a bunch of Diddy subtext where he was kind of
Oh, not even subtext.
Really?
Like, I'm pretty sure he flat out said a
Talks
bunch of
about it, right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
man.
I need to see that because he was one of the people I got to work with at the Oscars, and like I've never seen his stand up, so I can't comment to it. But
Yeah.
like he is one of those people that, and there's not a lot, but like he walked in and like immediately you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he does have an aura around him,
Yeah.
and he's like he's just a very, very funny, entertaining human.
Yeah.
His
You know.
his impressions are incredible.
Yeah.
Like so good.
Yeah,
He can
what-
do everybody.
what you hear from other comedians that worked with him at the time was that he was not someone you wanted to follow.
Yeah, because he just like he lights up a room. Like
Yeah.
he snuck. We were doing a rehearsal. We were doing the dance number for the Lego movie. I don't know if you remember.
Nice.
Mhm.
That was the year Neil Patrick Harris was the host.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the dance number for the Lego movie, and like like without like I don't know, like half the dancers just stopped working, and we were like, what is going on? So like the director yells cut, and we all turn, and Jamie Foxx is like giving one of them a back rub, like telling them some joke, and we're like, and like we're all just like laughing, having a great time, and we were like, oh, this is the only person that could interrupt the rehearsal and
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah,
you know?
literally.
Now
Yeah.
we're all like upset because we weren't part of it.
Yeah.
you know?
So knowing the subtext, let's pretend like he's not a comedian in real life. As comedians,
Yeah.
in this situation, how would you react if you were Max?
Probably the same way. The moment like a gun comes out, I'm just like, all right, fuck it, I'm here. Let's get me through this shit.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm gonna die probably. So
You wouldn't comment on the dye job?
I mean, I might have before the gun came out.
I should have known with
Yeah.
a hair like hairstyle like that.
Yeah, you were gonna pull a gun on me, man.
Looks like you matched your suit to your hair today.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be one of those where you just go, what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Where are you taking that haircut?
Save some pussy for the rest of us.
I meant the gun, but yeah.
Yeah, how about you? I mean, you've kind of been there already.
Yeah, you just kind of accept it, and you're just like, all right, well, because I had a gun pulled on me once, and it is like one of those moments where you just like, I mean, it was completely an act. Like, of all the times having a gun pulled on you can be an accident, it was actually a genuine accident.
Yeah.
It was in Brooklyn back in 2011, and I was like banging on the door to get into this my apartment complex. My key wasn't working, and I couldn't get my roommates to wake up. So my second floor guy came out. He just like, there's just a guy banging on the door at 3 a.m. right in Bushwick.
Hey, the
before
fuck
anyone
you
lived in
doing?
Bushwick. Yeah, and he just opened the door and he was just like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Oh, I live upstairs. Sorry, man, we haven't met. Like, I'm locked out." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm walking by and he's like holding his gun, and I was like, "Fucking gun?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, sorry." And then like the next day I ran into him. He was smoking out front, and he was like, "Dude, I was just telling my friend about you. I'm so sorry for having the gun on me." Blah blah. Blah. I was like, "No, man, I'm banging on the door at 3 a.m." He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, I'm a security guard. That's why I have a gun." And he's like, also, someone broke into my car the other night, and there's like a lot of gang shit that happens around here. He's like, "Also, you shouldn't be walking around at 3 a.m." And I was like,
Comedy.
Life experience.
Lessons are learned, Yeah.
Yeah, I think only the craziest thing that happened to me while I was driving for Lyft was I picked up one girl and she was like, and was on the phone bitching about someone, and then she just hangs up and starts talking to me, and she's like, "I'm just so tired of all the work discrimination. Like, it's not my fault my boobs are so big. Like, you can't fire me because I got big boobs." And I'm literally just like sneaking a look in the mirror. I'm like, what is your definition of too big? Like, what's going on here? They weren't too big, but yeah, that's the weirdest thing that happened to me while I was driving.
How about those Mets?
Yeah.
Did you watch that Aaron Rodgers documentary or what?
Yeah, it just changes the subject immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about those
Anyway,
tits, those
yeah.
Mets? The
Wouldn't know
Mets.
anything about that. I think when I get under pressure or I'm like really stressed, I talk angrily at myself.
Yeah.
Like even if like I stub my toe, I'm like, you fucking idiot. You would stub your toe, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
And like
You're just in the front seat, fucking stupid idiot. How
I
dare
knew
you
I'd
accept
fucking
this?
die at work. I knew it.
Yeah, I don't even know who I'm talking to because I know what you're talking about, and I do that too. But like, I'm not talking to me. I'm talking to like something.
Yeah, just out
like
in the ether.
I slammed my
The universe.
my elbow on like the fridge last night. I was like grabbing because I just was driving all day yesterday, and like I just slammed my elbow, and I just went, "Come on." And I don't
Yes!
and I don't even know who it was for. I don't know if it was for me, if it was
Yeah.
for God. Like I was just like, "Come on." And
So
then
you do
nerves
it
in your
too?
body.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
glad. My wife
the time.
has overheard me in my office talking out loud. My wife
They
thinks
say
I'm a
it's a
psycho.
sign of intelligence.
Someone-
so.
Really?
Yeah.
To
If you
talk
talk
to-
to yourself, yeah.
Oh,
Fuck,
really?
then I'm fucking Einstein, dude.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Smart boys.
Yes.
Change the name. It's the Smart Boy Pod now.
Yes.
It's just you and I talking to ourselves.
Smart.
That's just
Dude.
watching being like
in
this.
stereo, so it's coming through. You're coming through this ear. You're coming through this ear, and it's the most confusing schizophrenic conversation ever.
We just get 3 rooms, microphone in each, and we just record. Just
Yeah.
fucking.
And then we just throw it together.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Billy Wayne Davis tweeted something about you know how JD Vance just everything he touches dies.
Yeah.
Like including the Pope.
Yeah.
Like he had that thing where he lifted up that trophy and it fell apart.
Yeah.
And like Billy Wayne Davis reposted that picture and he was like, he just like I've never seen a guy like trying so hard knowing that he's not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
You know, like when you get to that moment, you're like, I'm not supposed to. This party's way too cool for me to be
Yeah.
here. And I was like, he looks like a golfer that always talks to himself.
Yeah.
You know, like they cut to like the golfers, like they had a bad shit, and they're like, come on. Yeah. Like he looks like he says at every moment of the day, just like, come on, JD, they're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Find out, JD.
Yeah.
His accent gets progressively more southern because he's faking it the whole time. You know, like
Starts calling himself Alice.
Yeah.
That dude stubbed his toe a lot.
Yeah. But just like the toe is life.
That's hysterical. I can kind of relate to that though, because I do have days where I'm like, everything I did today sucked, and I killed some stuff. I ruined everything today.
I've come to the conclusion that I probably can never invite JD Vance over because Harry has formed such a perfect couch hussy into the couch that I'm really scared that JD Vance would just start fucking my couch.
I was like, how? You started that sentence, and I thought, in what world is JD Vance on your couch?
You never know.
Well, you're replacing him. He was supposed to be our guest today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did he actually watch the movie?
He did. Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah. And then he tariffed both of them.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, but no, when you finished that and you're like, oh, he's gonna fuck my couch. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, now it makes sense. I was like, oh, these visions of grandeur where you're like, and next week we got Donald J. Trump.
Yeah. Almost.
Randos. Oh yeah. Oh, I love how my voice sounds in this microphone. This is crazy. Before Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, this was going to be Russell Crowe and Adam Sandler.
Hold on.
Are you serious?
Hold on. Who was who? Who was playing who?
This would have been like Adam Sandler's kind of like, maybe I can be a serious actor.
Yeah.
Like this was that time,
Uncut
right?
Gems before Uncut Gems.
Yeah, he was doing like, he did Paul Thomas Anderson's.
Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah.
So wait, who was going to play
Russell
who?
Crowe was going to be Vincent. I don't hate it.
Could have been interesting.
I think what's funny is Adam Sandler turned it down because he was working on Spanglish, but the reason he turned it down is because he didn't know if he could play this dark of a role.
Yeah.
Which is funny because eventually he would play some pretty dark roles. And so now I'm like, I actually think that could have worked.
Yeah, like Old Nicky when he was the Devil's Son. That was very dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Uncut Gems is like, that's like...
No, I know.
That's funny. Yeah, okay. I see what you did there.
The weird thing is...
It's like, yeah, obviously I'm Uncut Gems.
The weird thing is, I think that could actually work because unlike Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which we covered, the script stands on its own in this case.
Yeah.
Like, I think Jamie Foxx and Jada Pinkett Smith and Tom Cruise and Mark Ruffalo all did a great job in their roles.
Yeah.
But I think the script stood on its own enough that it could have easily been transferred to any competent actor and it still would have been a good movie. So no, I could see that work. Especially Russell Crowe back then, I think could have played a very unassuming sociopathic killer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I weirdly, I also think 2004 Adam Sandler could have handled something like
that. Has Russell Crowe ever played someone that dark?
Recently. Well, he did that Pope horror film, but there was another one where he was some like redneck murderer.
Yeah.
What was I missed this one.
That was in the last couple of years. Since he's just enjoyed getting fat. He's just,
why
like,
did
playing all these
because I feel like
roles.
it was sort of like the same thing we were talking about Tom Cruise, where it was like the Scientology stuff. We were like, let's cruise for a second. Why did Russell Crowe kind of disappear for a minute?
I think he was just happy with the big things that he had done and was ready to step back. And I know his parents have moved in with him and live on his ranch with him in the bush of Australia. He has a ranch that he literally like.
I thought you were joking.
No, 100%.
No, until you got to on his ranch, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. So
I would do more movies if my parents moved in with me. If my dad wasn't dead.
Well, that's the thing is like his dad did die. And so his and the reason they moved in with him is because his dad was dying. And so then after that happened, he told this whole story a while ago on how he went back to Italy with his mom, who hadn't been there since she had gone with dad. So it was like a big thing.
Okay.
But I think he just wanted to step back and take more character-driven roles. I mean, granted, he was in fucking Thor: Love and Thunder. Like he still takes big roles when he wants to.
No, I mean, I liked the not the other guys, Nice Guys.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fun. I haven't seen him in a while.
So I think he's just able to be picky, which is kind of the goal if you're going to be an actor like that.
Given the way that Gladiator 2 went,
I didn't see it.
Okay, I sat back at some point and went, "Oh, this isn't a sequel. This is just an action movie."
Yeah,
and I was able to really enjoy it. With if they had the hindsight of going, "Hey, we just made an action movie," I would have loved if Russell Crowe had just like made an appearance, like a proper appearance, like and just like there's say in the Coliseum, and he just showed back up like almost like Rambo style, but with swords, and just just saved his son. Oh, I would have been I would have been amped.
That would have been good
if they had just been like, you know what, we tried to make a serious movie, and really we just made an action film.
It's an interesting observation because there are actors who like dedicate themselves to that life and that world. Yeah. Russell Crowe, I can't remember. We covered Gladiator like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay,
but I'm trying to remember. Russell Crowe was not the lead. He wasn't the lead to play that role originally. Like he was not the first.
No, because he was pretty unknown. At that point.
Was it like Mel Gibson or something?
No. Well, I do. You might be right. Mel Gibson's name was tossed around both as a director and as a actor for that one.
He like won't get off. Like he like won't stop talking about the Jews.
Yeah. like this is a different era.
And you're like, the weird part is you are actually being historically accurate. Yeah. But we don't think you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, but anyway, that was one of those weird situations, and it doesn't happen often, but he just was propelled.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie was fantastic.
And it was just part of the cultural zeitgeist. Yeah. You know, it just was such a cult.
I mean, it took the Best Picture Oscar from Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. And
in my mind, those are two different, like, years even. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, they came out the same year.
No, I know, but I'm saying in my mind, like, I wouldn't have even thought that would be in contention with each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gladiator was the summer blockbuster, and then Lord of the Rings was the Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I can see how that would happen.
But some people, like, maybe this happens, like, maybe he just got propelled to fame, and he's like,
yeah, I'm here.
I'm getting good royalties on this.
I mean, he had some bangers like for the next, like, because he did A Beautiful Mind, he did Cinderella Man, like he had a whole series of bangers for the next 10 years. Really, I mean almost 15 years, because I mean, I know Noah was kind of a bit of a controversial movie, but I thought he did an incredible job in that movie.
I only saw it once, and I honestly don't remember.
I didn't know of that.
It's very funny. It's treated more like biblical mythology, which I kind of enjoyed, like this kind of fantastical view of it. Yeah,
because that's like Tolkien's whole thing, where he's like, myths are real because they had to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So again, it was controversial at the time, but I thought it was really good. And he was talking about how right after that is when he really took a step.
Okay.
Yeah.
One that doesn't get talked about enough to me is the other Ridley Scott movie he did, Body of Lies, with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Seen that one.
Really good. There's a really gruesome scene in that movie. I won't say it, but I love it.
He did a movie called Next 3 Days, where it's him breaking his wife out of prison, and that was a shockingly great movie that really flew under the radar.
I saw that one.
This is called the Crow Appreciation Club.
Would Collateral have been, because I feel like Jamie Foxx, this would have been when he was kind of like starting to be taken more seriously, right?
This was a couple years before Law Abiding Citizens, so this probably really pushed him out of the idea of being a comedian and became an actor.
Yeah, and the one with Robert Downey Jr. when the cellist, what was it called?
Yeah. And then Ray would come out the next year.
Ray, that's what that was the big one.
Yeah, as much as like I know this movie is reasonably famous, I heard I've been rewatching Psych, and they actually just referred to it on an episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I watched recently. So it's like I know it was in the zeitgeist, but I don't think this was like such a big movie that it like propelled anyone to any type of stardom, but I think it really gave Jamie Foxx the opportunity to take on much bigger, more serious roles because he's not just a comedian anymore.
Do you guys, do you think currently, or at least in the last like 3 or 4 years, because it's just something I'm sort of observing, but I feel like it's harder to see someone kind of like just blow up the way these guys have, like in terms of like, okay, like I'll do this movie, then I'll do this movie, and then this one's a little bit like pushing me a little bit more as an actor, and then I'll be taken seriously in this movie, and then I'm gonna do something I feel like now it's like Hollywood's like, hey, we have these 5 boys, and they're playing every role, and you guys just have to swallow it.
There's a lot of that, but then every now and then you'll have someone like a Glenn Powell who's in like 3 very famous movies right back to back in the same year, and he's now kind of been pushed into the heartthrob kind of situation. Right. And I feel like you give him another 3 years and he'll pick an incredibly dark, character-driven movie. While I don't think we really have any new movie stars, as much as people love Timothée Chalamet, he's not the reason Dune is doing well. Neither is Zendaya. It's the whole thing of the film. But you don't really have movie stars that are the reason people go see movies anymore. I think Glenn Powell's going to become the closest thing.
Tom Hardy's kind of in that.
He was one of the last ones.
Ryan Gosling's another one. Like, I'll see a movie just because Ryan Gosling's in it.
But they're kind of the very end of that era.
Yeah. Okay.
Tom Hardy's doing so many different, like he's now, with Venom, he's ventured into that world.
Yeah.
He's done incredible TV with Peaky Blinders. Like
Yeah.
he has touched.
Very character-driven
character
indie
on the-
movies. Locke, if you haven't seen that,
Oh.
that's one of the most incredible movies I've ever seen, just in
Highly.
one location the whole time.
We've got to cover it.
We do.
I really want to cover
Yeah.
that.
And what's the one where he plays
Oh,
based on the real guy?
Bronson?
Bronson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
By
Great.
my favorite, one of my favorite directors, Nicholas Winding Refn. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
that's
was
an
awesome.
incredible film.
I also just like interviews with Tom Hardy are always like he's just so, like everything about him. Like what?
He's just a dude.
Yeah,
He's so great.
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Like he'll like drop some like really profound statement
Yeah.
and he's like silly. And,
yeah.
Well, this is actually so funny you mentioned Venom because I still need to see I have sort of seen the latest Venom.
Yeah.
The day before I decided to stop drinking, I was like just kind of on like a 3-week bender, and it was like my last day of like, what am I doing? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the movies. I'm gonna see Venom because I haven't been in the movie theaters in a while. So I get out, get out to the mall, and I buy my ticket. I have like a hard time buying my ticket, which is how I knew I was like hammered. And I sit down. I went to the bar. I bought a beer, and I'm sitting there, and I didn't realize I bought tickets to those movies that like chair shakes.
You got a 4D
And so,
ticket.
like, all of a sudden, like, the movie's about to start, and it just is like, and I was like, oh no. And like, the first scene, something like explodes, and like, I just like throw my beer everywhere.
Oh
I
my
am
God.
laughing maniacally in the back, like, just like throwing beer all over the place, just like, this is, like, it's like a $17 beer.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like cracking up, and I was like, I'm just trying to enjoy this movie. So I like
Yeah.
put the beer down, it's like still shaking and falling all over me. And I think I got like maybe an hour into it, and I think I bought another beer, and it like spilled that one too. And I was like, I gotta get home.
Thanks, Tom Hardy.
Yeah, so I don't remember
Venom
anything
got
about-
him sober.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy is also sober.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So,
Yeah, he's talked about his sobriety a lot. So maybe there's a kismet thing
Tom,
there.
Tom and I are gonna when we make the Pride of Hagerstown a live action film. Tom Hardy plays me.
There we go.
Everyone would be like, Will couldn't do any of this, like for no reason. He's just like jumping between buildings.
They reenact your gay bar story, and
It's
everyone's
Tom
like,
Hardy.
yeah, he's literally holding it up with his finger. Like, what
Yeah,
are you
he's
talking about? Of course
jacked.
he's a man.
He has to keep the English accent though
And
when
he
he
has the
plays
English
you.
accent, yeah, but he's also playing. But he's like playing 20-year-old Will
Yeah.
now, and he doesn't shave or anything. They don't do any digital stuff to his skin. He's just like, right, yeah, all right, David Letterman.
When was the last time my dad hugged me?
Yeah. They're like, this is actually kind of this, I believe.
Yeah. Cockney Will.
Dreams.
Rando number 2.
Here we go.
I love these stories. I knew whenever I saw a taxi cab, I knew there was going to be some preparedness shit because like the way like Robert De Niro drove the cab around and after Godfather 2, and people were like, "Aren't you the guy from Godfather 2?" And he literally had his little license attached to his seat that said Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And but Tom Cruise to work on blending in became a FedEx driver.
Oh, that's funny.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he kind of
Or like, now was this like a Donald Trump at McDonald's kind of FedEx driver where it was like for an
Yeah.
hour and he took pictures? Or
couldn't find. I actually think Tom Cruise would go the full mile.
I believe it.
Wear the hat.
He's a dedicated motherfucker.
if Jared Leto can go pretend to be homeless for a month to study for Requiem for a Dream, then I could see Tom Cruise doing this for a week.
And he also did the John Wick thing where he was practicing. He was actually had like officials coaching him on live ammunition, so he really wanted to nail that which is really good.
I mean, if you're gonna play a world-renowned assassin, then you kind of have to be. You have to look the part. You have to be able to do it.
Like you could because you can tell when someone's never held a gun.
Yeah.
Like immediately they're like, "Yep, here we go," and you're like, "No."
That's thug mode. We need to go assassin mode.
Yeah. This is incredible. And it's so funny because of how well it's done. I never even questioned how they filmed this because I'm pretty sure they didn't do this in Taxi Driver, but they called the cab they filmed in the Pope Mobile because they sliced it in half. They installed a plexiglass wall on the back.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
And then they attached it to a plexiglass encased trailer so that you couldn't hear any wind noises or anything like that. They had 30 light strips so they could control the lighting to make it whenever they wanted to make it look more like the city inside. They rigged this thing out. It had they're called electroluminescent panels.
Nice.
And they had 30 of them in there, and that's how they made the whole thing look incredible on the inside.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Literally, cutting a car in half like that. That's very common in filmmaking. Cool.
Is there an Academy Award for the person that did that rigged it up?
Production design.
They're
Would that be design? Would that fall in there?
They do have those. They're called specialty Oscars. I only know that.
Like yeah.
I've interviewed two winners of those for the show. So Mick Rogers, who's Mel Gibson's stuntman, but he also his claim to fame was he got an Oscar for the Mick rig, which is why Fast and Furious became such a good movie.
Nice.
Well, I say such a good movie. I don't like them, but you know
Shout
what I
out
mean.
Drew Davis.
But they
popular franchise.
Yes, it didn't change because originally they were just going to do it like they'd always done it.
Yeah,
they were going to put the cars on trailers. And he had this idea to cut the cars in half and attach them to these like trailer rigs, to make them go faster. And
Tyrese can't drive like that.
Yeah, I know, I know. But it actually was safe enough to where the insurance companies would let the celebrities actually drive the cars.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And because Mick did that, and he also used it for Twister.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so he actually sent me. I'll show you after, but he emailed me pictures from him working on Twister, using his Mick rig for like the Bill Paxton scene when they hit the bridge and the tornado. That was the Mick rig.
Nice.
But yeah, he got an Oscar for that. So
okay, that's cool. That's good because that was one thing I liked about Fall Guy is like giving recognition you don't think about.
Yeah. I like that they're doing stunt coordination awards, but they need to add stunt acting. They need to have two categories for that because the stunt actors don't get enough credit. Even if the stunt choreographer is getting the credit, I think they both need the credit.
And they become filmmakers.
Yeah.
Chad Stahelski is phenomenal filmmaker.
Yeah.
The John Wick series, and he was Keanu's.
Yeah.
The amount of pain that he has experienced on behalf of Keanu Reeves, he's broken ribs, he broke a leg on The Matrix. Yeah, these guys. Yeah, which is funny. Mick Rogers called him a pussy, by the way. I asked him about that story. He complained about that. He's like, what a pussy. He goes, if you're a stunt guy, you complain about breaking your leg.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I like the standard of pain, like what the threshold's supposed to be, like the inappropriate amount. You know?
Yeah.
It's like when you bomb and someone's just like, I can't believe I bombed. Like, have you ever seen, like, I haven't seen it in a while, but like it's usually a young comic when they bomb and then they like storm off and they cry in the back or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, buddy, you're gonna go back and do this tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you can't.
And you're gonna bomb again.
Or you might do it in 30 minutes somewhere else.
Yeah. Like, literally, like get your tears, like wipe your tears up and go to Twin Kegs. Yeah.
I heard there's 4 people there.
Yeah.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Just like how Tom Cruise prepared, Jamie Foxx did drive. He took real fares and he shadowed cabbies and heard their stories and he had them tell them like you just did with your crazy stories. Heard the crazy stories. That's how he prepared. And lastly, this is the part I thought you'd be most interested in as a filmmaker. The camera they used, so this was one of the very first groundbreaking digital films.
Yeah.
He wanted it because there was a certain type of grain that he wanted especially with the city shots, that he knew he couldn't get that level of detail with analog. And so they used what was called the Sony F900 Cine Alta, and it was used with Viper Film Stream, which was a cutting-edge, more immersive depiction of the city's nocturnal glow, is what it says. But yeah, so that was apparently at the time that was like, what?
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Because that's the interesting thing. Like thinking about the era of time, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones both shot on film, and then Revenge of the Sith that was shot on 1080p digital. That was the first Star Wars movie to be shot on digital. So yeah, that whole era of time was a really weird transition over into. Even though the cameras were expensive, not having to continuously buy film for people.
Yeah.
Probably time as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Stop. What do they say? They're like,
check the gate.
Check the gate.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course, can we still say on the cutting room floor? Now it's like
it's still called the cutting room
on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah. In my downloads folder.
Yeah.
That I haven't cleared out yet.
Is it in your outbox?
Yeah.
Next to all the porn.
Yeah.
No, I know it's in
There's
here.
There's so much porn here.
Just look. No. Just walk out of the room for a second.
Found it.
You can't see this.
Clockwise rim job. Counterclockwise rim job.
Shall we catch a fare?
Let's do it.
Shall we
crash?
Give the DA our phone number or get the phone number from the DA. Let's war.
Let's do it.
Positive, yes. Affirmative, if you dig the category. If you like it, I Ching, whatever, man. And then if you didn't like it, negative. Again, you don't have to say the whole phrase, but bullets in the fall killed him. All right, top bill cast.
Here we go.
For Collateral, here we go. And we're going to talk about how we feel about this top bill cast. That would be Tom Cruise as Vincent, Jamie Foxx as Max, and Jada Pinkett Smith as Annie.
This was pre-slap, so we still have respect for Jada Pinkett at the time.
Yeah, I guess so.
I give it an I Ching. They all, as we've said with so many of these movies, they all brought 100% of them. None of them felt out of place. None of them felt off. Everyone felt like their character should have. So yeah, it's definitely an I Ching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say it's an I Ching.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a Jada heyday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before. What was it called? The Entanglement.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
Entanglement.
The
That was
Entanglement,
even
the slap.
pre-Madagascar.
Yeah. I'm the same. I loved it. I think I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. I mean, he's done a lot of weird shit, but
He's hit or miss for me, but I like a lot of his movies. I have Oblivion up on the wall.
yeah, extremely dedicated actor, still doing in his 60s, still doing all the stunts for Mission Impossible, hanging off the side of planes,
attempting to produce the first movie fully made in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he just doesn't give up. He literally thinks it's his job to save Hollywood.
Yeah,
and he's trying. I mean, he's talked about that, but I love it here. Jamie Foxx is just incredible here, and I remember
so good.
I remember watching this when it came out, thinking, God, like, because I remember his stand up and then his music, you know, and like he's just so
I forgot the music too.
fantastic musician,
Great rapper.
Yeah, and he also has he plays keys.
Yeah, right.
Really gifted guy, and it's
He's on
funny.
that one Kanye song.
He knew how to play the piano before Ray, though, right? Wasn't he like
Oh, yeah.
already a master pianist?
Yeah, he did it for his record. He played the keys on those records.
Yeah.
So really good. I remember buying that at Walmart.
Nice.
Jamie Foxx record.
Ugh, Walmart.
Yeah.
You know that I not to bash on Walmart, but they don't take Apple Pay.
Really?
Learned that the hard way the other day.
You hit a wall.
Trying to buy some Topo Chico and cat food, and I walked up and I was tapping my phone against a thing, and someone was like, "We don't take Apple Pay," and I was like, "You're Walmart. Like you're Walmart. You're like one of the biggest companies in the entire world."
Maybe thought they were you making a bomb with that.
Yeah.
Topo Chico, and,
Chico and cat food?
Oh my God. What's this guy doing?
No, it was just dinner.
What is this?
Yeah, comedy's going great.
I can get 19 meals out of this bag of cat food.
Topo Chico.
Like, why are you
and
still
Fancy
spending
Feast.
$16 on Topo Chico? You can
Yeah.
just get seltzer water for $3. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm poor, but I'm still gonna get Topo Chico.
I have
I'm
class.
poor, but I have standards.
Put the cat food in.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. One
Like
to
how old people did peanuts and Coca-Cola.
I just saw a musician I follow. She posted that today, and she was like having a nice morning of Coke and peanuts, and I
Yeah.
was like, this must be a thing. I don't know.
It was a Great
Yeah.
Depression thing. My grandma did it all the time growing up.
yeah,
Yeah.
my mom used to do it. I was like, that's why she's bipolar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that salt, that fizz, just
Yeah.
like, woo! We're gonna have a weird day today.
A week from now, like you're on RFK's staff.
Yeah,
We should bring back the peanuts and Coca-Cola.
you drink that, you're like, I'm either gonna beat my children or we're going to Disney World today. I can't decide.
It's whatever the worm decides.
Yeah. All right, 1-0 supporting cast. Here we go. That would be Mark Ruffalo, who
Slash Michael Pena.
slash Michael Pena. A foot taller, but yes, looked like Michael Pena. And it took me a minute to realize it was him too. I was like, God, that's Mark Ruffalo. Peter Berg as Richard Widener, Widener, and then Bruce McGill as Petarosa. I'm looking down the list for more names. Yeah, the rest of the names are kind of whatever. Yeah, we'll stop there.
So for me, it's going to be actually a Bullets. Like
Okay.
none of them were that memorable. I was very confused by Mark Ruffalo being there, mostly because he's got a very New England kind of accent, and he just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
In L.A., but also somehow looked Mexican. Like it was honestly his scenes were the most distracting for me. The rest of the supporting cast, like, yeah, they were there. None of them really like brought anything extra to the table. I think all of them could have been easily replaced. So it's a bullet.
Was this like an era of movies where like the supporting cast really just didn't,
No, I don't think there's an era of that concept. I just think sometimes
or they were like very much just like, look, you're a face in the background and you're just propping up Tom Cruise?
Kind of, it depended, because you definitely have like the Coen brothers who were very into making sure every single character they wrote stood
Right.
out.
Well,
Yeah.
So it just really depends on, I think, whether you were producing an auteur movie or a movie that you were trying to make money on. Like, I think
Yeah, Michael Mann too. He is a big cast guy. You know,
Yeah.
Heat was Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer,
Yeah.
in the lead,
Yeah.
and Brenneman was the supporting cast on that. I mean, he just had this gigantic cast. So yeah, who else? Winona Judd. I mean,
Yeah, that's an okay.
just
it's an
insane
okay
cast.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how Michael Mann goes. But
it was interesting to see her at the Kill Tony show.
I bet.
Winona Judd?
She opened both nights and then was at the after
Just
party.
Give me one big fire. Just one big well-timed fire. And reset the timeline.
I want an asteroid.
No. Well, that's going to take out too much. I need it concentrated.
Is that a real thing? Can you take out too much of what's going on right now? I think we need a
Okay,
haircut.
that's fair.
Will.
That's
This
fair.
world needs a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs a buzz cut.
Just take the North Pole.
Yeah, just
Take it
top
out.
down. All the melting will just drown us all, and I will be like, ah!
Yeah, somehow you're the only survivor.
Yeah, I'll be mumbling to most. I'm like, what the fuck? How did I still survive?
It's you and
This
frogs.
was for
Yeah,
me.
That's it.
And the cockroaches.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hate cockroaches.
Oh man.
So
How'd you get here?
what'd you think?
I'm gonna say bullets because Mark Ruffalo needs more L's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got on that Marvel train pretty hard.
Yeah, and honestly, he's the worst of all the Hulks.
Norton was better.
Way better. Eric Bana was way better.
Well, I also think Mark Ruffalo got absorbed into because this is one thing I think's been a problem with. I know this would probably be a long conversation, but I do think it got too silly. Where like when they found out like, hey, Thor can be funny and Chris Hemsworth has some comedic chops, I think they like lost the plot.
Oh, 100%.
Where they were just like, well, no, every big guy has to be funny.
Yeah.
Like I just saw
Yeah.
the most recent one, and I was like, oh, the Russian guy's funny too now. Wow, a big funny guy.
Yeah.
Something we haven't done yet. In
Yeah.
Marvel, you know. And I think Mark Ruffalo was like too good at being funny, and they were
Yeah.
like, we're let's make She-Hulk and really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like-
And now Harrison Ford Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, that was. I mean, I don't blame anyone on that one because that was just like he's too old to be doing this,
Yeah.
and it was like he's filling in for a guy that had already been playing their character, and like the whole movie was just rough.
My favorite thing is every time he gets interviewed, someone literally was like, "Did you feel weird doing the motion capture? Like, is there a
He says
part of
money.
your brain that's just like, oh, this is so stupid?" He's like, "No, that's what the money's for."
He is like just such a great celebrity.
Oh yeah,
Of,
he's
like-
unabashedly honest about. No, this is a job for me.
Yeah.
It's
20
the
million.
greatest job ever, but it's just a job. I don't
was a
have any
carpenter.
gravitas.
Yeah.
I could be motion sick for $20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, based on like how his co-stars act around him, I think people genuinely love him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like he must be easy to work with and
Yeah.
like just fun to be around because I don't know if, especially his era, I don't think I've ever heard anyone be like, oh yeah, Harrison Ford.
All right, yeah, I actually go Bullets in the Fall killed him too. I don't like Mark Ruffalo here. I'll be honest, I don't like to bash people like specifically, but I just can't think of a single damn thing I like him in.
I did like
He was really good in Zodiac.
Oh,
yeah,
I
Zodiac.
did forget about Zodiac.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in a very long time.
Yeah.
But
I heard great things about his performance in 3 Billboards too.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I heard that. I still haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
I think I've seen like
Dark Waters, he was fucking great in.
Okay.
Here's the thing. This was just not a good role for him. He doesn't need to be a cop. And I mean Zodiac kind of wasn't he a journalist in Zodiac? He wasn't even a cop.
Yeah,
in
they're,
Zodiac.
yeah, they're journalists.
It's just this was not a good role for him. I've seen good roles for him, but it's just I don't know. It's weird. He needs to be the lead, but not like with anything super complex.
Yeah, it felt here like this. He was a very finesse. Maybe it's because my dad was a narcotics officer, and I just know how rough that shit is.
Yeah.
Like
that's
how
wild.
in real life, like my dad was a fucking ruffian.
Yeah.
And I watched Mark Ruffalo. I'm like, you haven't been through shit, bro. 'Cause
Yeah.
my dad had half a finger. He had long hair to his ass, and he would drink and do drugs with the drug dealers. And he would come home and be
dad
like, get the
what?
fuck out of my way.
Your dad was Matthew McConaughey. And,
Yeah.
what's the show? The HBO.
True Detective.
True Detective,
Yeah,
like
minus the intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like watching. You're like, Dad.
Dad, just love me. So a little bit too.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where a Coen brother approach would have been like, I think some kind of like lesser known, kind of hardened guy could
Hell,
come.
Adam Sandler could have killed that role.
Yeah.
I think he would have been great in that role.
I know it's kind of weird how like I just want to see him do more.
Yeah.
I've never
Adam Sandler?
Yeah. Ever since Uncut Gems, I'm like, I want to see him do more dark shit.
Granted, somehow he convinces every fucking gorgeous woman in the world to play his wife in whatever movie
Yeah.
he wants to do. I'm like, okay,
It's
cool.
just saying, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you wanna come and just some of them titties?
Come on, Aniston. We'll do our 4th movie together. It'll
Yeah.
be fucking great. You'll get in a bikini.
Okay,
I'll pretend to ogle you. It'll be great.
Okay, Adam, I'll be there. God,
You're so adorable.
Love it. It is 1-1. Let's talk about the writing and the writer. It's funny. I was looking at his credentials earlier. Australia-based Stuart Beadle, and he has like
What a name.
he has the Pirates of the Caribbean logo video, or the Pirates of the Caribbean Lego video game. Tomorrow the War Began. G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra
Oh, okay.
on his resume.
There we go.
And he did write the Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of.
The Black Pearl?
Yep, he wrote that as well.
Oh.
Wait, that's the first one, right?
Yeah.
That's like the one.
The one.
Yeah, I don't
the-
like
the
that
only
series,
one
so-
I enjoyed.
Oh,
so.
that's the best one though out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has some things, and this may be his best one. What do you think?
This might be his best one. I guess he got this after Pirates came out,
Mm-hmm.
or at least he got Pirates. So I mean, he clearly had worked his way up into something decent. No, this was like I said earlier. I think this script could have stood on its own with any competent actors in any of the roles. I think could have done as good, if not even a little better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give it a I Ching.
And it's an original, right?
Yes, it is.
Not
yeah.
an adaptation.
Nope, it's an original.
That's that's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like impossible to get an original script through the pipeline at all.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers just issued an edict saying we want non-original shit.
Yeah.
Like we want to bank on existing IP.
Yeah.
Like one of my buddies out now, like one of my college friends, I forget what his production company's called, but like, yeah, they don't like. He wrote an original script once that I read and it was like, this is great. And he's like, yeah, it's never gonna see the light of day.
Yeah.
But like his whole company, like they go to like Germany. This was also like when Netflix was like just getting into streaming and being like, how much money can we make here? And so like they would like go to Germany or Korea or whatever, and they would find a series and like bring it back here, and we'd get True Detective, or whatever it is. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say I Ching then.
Yeah.
This just doesn't happen, and it's definitely not gonna happen anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of the like catchphrase moments ever felt too cheesy or like Stallone-ish. So yeah, no, it was quite solid.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations where, well, I always talk about how much I love commentaries. I get really pissed if a movie, because that's part of my research, and I just love hearing the directors talk.
Yeah.
And I just could listen to Michael Mann talk for hours, and like he does this for every single movie he does, but every actor has to write their backstory.
Yeah.
And
which every actor should be writing a backstory.
And he does it with them. And Tom Cruise like has this whole like, this isn't writing in the sense of the script, but like he did have to like, he was an orphan.
Yeah.
He was displaced when he was 11. He got arrested. Like there was just this.
Oh, he built the story up to the point that he's at. Yeah. See, that's awesome.
And you can see it.
Yeah,
you can kind of see. And Jamie Foxx, like I love this whole, because there's even more like that you didn't see, that he wrote about this business plan and how he got into driving a cab and his mom, and like there's just so much there. I love how Michael Mann does that, because like you can see it. And I really do think the way that Vincent was written transformed. Tom Cruise is a guy that gets away most of the time with being Tom Cruise. I think the exception is Magnolia, where he was fucking exceptional. And that
I haven't seen it.
Oh, Paul Thomas Anderson. I still
He's
think
the long hair.
Yep.
He's the like not cult leader, but like
he's like a self-help macho.
Yeah.
That's
he's Andrew Tate. Yeah. Years before Andrew Tate.
Yeah, with tears.
Yeah.
There's a scene in there that's like legendary where he cries, and like it's so good. So, but I think this is second to that. The writing of this character transformed Tom Cruise into a guy I was like, he has more range than I thought.
Granted, Eyes Wide Shut is still fucking incredible.
That is true.
He's so good.
That's up there as well. That's a very.
You haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
It's
that's Nicole Kidman, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was the movie that in theory broke them up.
Oh, interesting.
Stanley Kubrick, his last movie. They had a edit of it, and then he died 4 days after he supposedly missing like 20 minutes out.
And Roger Avery, Quentin Tarantino's sidekick, he's out there he's been trying to get the original cut.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because he's got a production script.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was friends with Kubrick. But yeah, I love it. I just love the detail, and I get bashed all the time for this. I still think the best Hannibal Lecter movie is the very first one that was made. It was Michael Mann's Manhunter, 1986. Yeah. Brian Cox played Hannibal from.
I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, me neither.
My top 5 novel for me all time is Red Dragon, which is the very first Hannibal book.
And the adaptation was not bad.
That's Ed Norton too, right?
Yep, and Ralph Fiennes. But it was so.
That's a psycho.
Yeah. And I just think Michael Mann has such a distinct like flavor when you watch him, and I just think there's so much intentionality. In addition to a great script, the effort that was put into designing these characters pushes this way over. This is I Ching hard, man. So I never thought I'd say that sentence. I Ching hard, man.
He like just cut that out of, and they're like, lost it.
And it's 2-1. You know how I know that? Because I brought the spreadsheet back.
Hey, he's writing it down.
Halfway through the last 10 episodes, I've lost count. I'm like, it's 8-4. We don't even have 8 categories.
It's okay. It's like, whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter. And
Yes. Directing, Michael Mann.
It's gonna be an I Ching for me. Again, I don't think this movie is necessarily anything exceptional, but he did a good job. There was nothing that was like glaringly terrible about it. So yeah, I'd say it was decent. It was solid. So yeah, I Ching for me.
Yeah.
See, sometimes with directors, I'm always like, because this was great, so I'm gonna give him an I Ching.
Yeah.
But I am always like when it's bad.
Yeah.
I do always have to go, how did you not as bad?
No, they do.
You know,
most of them do, and they still have to deliver the movie.
We just got to do it.
Yeah.
God, that's awful. But yeah, no, this is great.
Yeah, you see a lot of those because they had a better idea and they fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched what's that Seth Rogen show just came out?
The producers.
The producers.
Or yeah, I think that.
No,
or
not the
whatever,
producers.
The
It's,
studio.
the studio.
It's
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
list.
I've
should
watched the
at
first
some
couple
point.
episodes, and like I think you guys would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
That's Zack Snyder's career.
Yeah,
basically.
literally.
I mean, the second episode is like, I even with my TV experience, like know when like so and so is on set, dragging the day on because they have their creative input. And You're like, oh my gosh, sit down. Like, it's the dream's over, man. You're already making millions. Like, just give it up.
This is why Christopher Nolan has it so good, is because literally he's at the point where he's just like, I'll do what I'm gonna do, but you don't have a choice.
Yep.
I will deliver you a film and you will distribute it, but you're not gonna tell me how to make this shit. That is the reason Sinners has done so well, is because Ryan Coogler brought the script to the studio, sat down, and said, here's the deal. I'm going to make this. You don't say shit.
Yep.
I will deliver you. Same as Nolan. He's like, I will deliver you this movie, but I guarantee you it's going to do well, and you're just not going to say shit. You're going to let me do this. And they did, and it's become the quickest, highest grossing R-rated movie since 2019. Same. I'm mad I missed it in IMAX.
Lately, like if it's new, I wait to watch it till we cover it because like I want to have it's
Be fresh.
It's a luxury I don't get anymore because we covered so many movies I've seen. I'm like, if I get to watch it with fresh eyes, But
and TikTok, that's the thing, is like one of the reasons I saw the Marvel movie as quickly as I did is I was like, I just don't want Thunderbolts. I mean, I couldn't remember the movie's name.
Well, they changed it to the New Avengers at the end of it.
I didn't put. That's how like sometimes like I'm just oblivious. Where like it wasn't until I saw on TikTok they were like, and now the new event. I was like, oh, that's why they did that.
Yeah,
I missed it. I missed why the Asher was there.
And I just to put an exclamation point on that. I mean, any director that does it owes their life to Francis Ford Coppola. That's how he made his career. You know, with The Godfather, like he kept like finding ways to get out of meetings.
Nice.
Because they kept wanting him to make it like the book, because the book was really soapy. The book is bad, by the way. It's not a good book. I've read it. It's not like, it's a lot soapier than the movie. And finally, he just had a feeling. He's like, if I show him the restaurant scene with Michael and the gun taped to the toilet, and I know they're going to change their fucking minds. And that's exactly what happened. They kept trying to get him to stop doing what he was doing. And he was like, but watch this.
Yeah.
And they're like, we trust you.
Yeah.
And with Apocalypse Now, he literally went to the Philippines.
And then he made Megalopolis.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen.
It's not available to stream. The only places you can currently see it, I just saw this online. The only places you can see it are private screenings that Coppola does himself, or if you take an international American Airlines flight. Those are the only places you can see it right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Apparently, he just was stoned out of his mind the entire time. He was just out of his mind.
That's how he made his wine as well.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. He put his winery on the line to fund Apocalypse Now because no one wanted to pay for it.
It's a good winery.
So the winery's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was like a new thing I discovered when I was like 25. And
Yeah.
I was like, God,
That's what I thought
I'm
too.
gonna get into wine.
I missed that Claret. the gold one, the one with the gold netting.
that one. Yes, I have had that one.
Never again.
The Technicolor one was really nice. That had like the
Blue
exterior.
bottle. There was a blue bottle one.
I'm done with you, alcohol. Stop talking. I go I Ching because I think nobody does LA like Michael Mann. I'm not saying other directors don't do it well. He just has such a specific flair for how he envisions the city and how he uses the city. I just think there's so many great choices here. The few things I have problems with this are, Mark Ruffalo, the unbelievable relationship between Jada Pinkett Smith's character and Max. Like, I don't necessarily love that. I think it's a little.
Yeah, I don't know. The conversation at the beginning convinced me well enough.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's like in a movie where it's kind of pretty real in a lot of ways. Like they managed
the one part that you're like,
oh, you know who forgot to say in supporting cast? Javier Bardem, a young Javier Bardem in here crushing it. I forgot to mention him.
Who did he play?
He was at the table. He was the guy when Jamie Foxx was pretending. You may not have picked up on it because they talk about it in special features. They had to coach him to speak in a Mexican Spanish accent versus because he's
Spanish, right?
because because he has the Spanish flair.
Yeah,
and they had to you need the Mexican version of this.
Yeah.
So they had to coach him.
That makes sense.
Because he also didn't speak great English at the time.
Yeah,
So,
I mean it's kind of like taking an upper class New Englander and trying to get him to speak with a Southern accent.
Yep. 3-1. Sorry, I had to rush my answer in there. Michael Mann, I love you. What's in front of us? Cinematography, production, design, sound, costumes, editing, stunts.
This is gonna be a squeak over, which in our vernacular is like a 5 point. It's just good
close.
enough.
He's a squeaker.
It's just good enough for me to say that it's an I Ching. But here's the thing: there were only moments where the cinematography I felt was otherwise it was just kind of generic setups, generic ways of shooting. There were a couple moments like after the car wreck where the camera got extra wavy, shaky, disorienting, but only when it was on Jamie Foxx.
Right.
Anytime it would cut to anyone else, it would still be handheld, but it would actually kind of calm down a little. But it was only like a couple of moments like that where I was like, oh, that's a really cool, subtle way to do that. Otherwise, it was just kind of there. Again, nothing egregious, but nothing good. The other than just the setting of LA, like, yeah, that was cool, but all of the general sets themselves, again, nothing to write home about. Nothing that I was like, oh, wow, this feels so detailed. So it was good. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say truthfully with cinematography, that's probably one of the things I'm very bad about noticing. I notice when it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can be like, this is really bad, but I don't have an eye for it where I'm like, that shot was exceptional. Like I know I've like I could sit there with you and you'd be like, look at that in the background right there, and he's got this in the foreground, and I'd just be like, I don't know, they got pretty eyes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So this isn't the best category for me, but I'll say I Ching because I didn't notice that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's fair.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just like a cornerback,
Or like jarring. Like there was nothing jarring that I was like, that was a terrible cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing I do notice that is like when there's just a cut that you're like,
yeah.
What the
something
fuck?
was in between this, and they really just didn't know how to work around it.
Yeah.
I see it with specials all the time too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
where you could tell, like even my own. There was one that we had to really, and like I noticed it because I've seen the thing 10,000 times with editing, but like it even recently I watched it and I was like, oh, that is what I thought it was.
Yeah. It happens.
It's like a defensive back in NFL. If they're saying your name, it's because you're not doing a good job.
Yeah. Well, it's because someone's. I mean, literally, the thing started and Brandon Gerald's grandmother's phone went off. And then like later like someone like dropped a glass in the middle of like a very long joke I was doing, and like so I'm like it goes from me like doing the joke to like a cut of me like laughing trying to get back into the joke because I was like I'm gonna lose my mind in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, those hard cuts are
Damn grandmothers.
yeah.
I do go I Ching as well, and it's like against the wall. You're squeaking.
Yeah.
I'm like I want to get to 11 here.
It's like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the aerial shots of LA, a city I don't even really like.
Yeah.
But here I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, that is the funny part about this is you're like he shot LA, so God, fucking give me some more LA.
Yeah.
But then you're like, but I actually don't like LA.
I'll
at all.
visit Michael Mann's LA.
You like
Yeah.
pictures. You aesthetically love LA.
Exactly.
But you in
The
person
yeah.
are like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
This is a hellhole, and I feel dirty, and I need to go shower and
Yeah,
get on a
literally.
plane to go back.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, it's exactly right, and I love it. I do think there's some creative framing here, and I think I love the scene where he finally decides that he's gonna like punch it and turn the car over.
Yeah.
And her, I think that was filmed really well. You're right though. There are portions of it which are pretty straight on.
Yeah.
But there's enough here where I like it. And I also love the attention to detail with Vincent's suit and his hair. Even though I know what you're saying because as Tom Cruise, you're like, what's with the gray hair?
Yeah.
But the tailoring of the suit. Now, obviously, you have to listen to the commentary to pick up on that. But now that I have, I'm like,
yeah. Now that you've said that to me, like the blending in, I'm like, oh, that's really smart.
Yeah.
Gray
Yeah.
hair and a gray suit, and you're like, what?
it's cool. And I love, and I related a lot to, one thing I liked was the little totem of him pulling down his visor to look at the picture of the island to remind him of his business plan. Like, I work a full-time job. Obviously, we all three of us have shit we're trying to accomplish in our lives that have nothing to do with the day job. But it's like, there are moments where like, I just need to look or touch something that reminds me that like my purpose is elsewhere. And so every time he would do that, I was like, that's cool. So that was a neat little thing. I love totem stuff in movies.
You have a life-size doll of Nicholas Refn, don't you?
I do. Nicholas Winding Refn. And my next pair of glasses is going to be like this. Love you, Nick. Please reschedule your interview. For God's sake. All right. That is 4-1 because of the Excel sheet. I know.
Hey.
All right. This is where we get into we call these bro categories, which the first 5 are like non-traditional or very traditional categories. These 2 are more, either comedic or related specifically to the movie. I called this one number 1 hitman.
Okay.
Hitman, especially lately, there's a bunch of new Hitman movies coming out.
It's like it has its like every 7 years kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy David Fincher's movie with Fassbender. Killer?
Fassbender's in a Hitman movie?
Yeah. And
it's a Netflix one.
yeah, it's
Oh, see,
actually
I don't have Netflix.
it's really good.
I
for
have to wait
Netflix.
until I'm dog sitting to catch up on anything.
That's
on Netflix.
right. Yeah. Walk a dog, get a streaming service.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's hitmen are a fixture
Yeah.
in film. But how do we rate Vincent here? Is he a good hitman or give or take?
I mean, that's an interesting question because thinking about it at the time, I'm sure it was something unique compared to most of your other just like kind of stereotypical. I mean, even Terminator, I feel like could be considered a hitman in some sense.
Yeah.
This was somewhat different, but I have seen so many hitman movies since this came out that it just nothing about it really stood out to me. So I'm gonna go bullets on this one. It was fine. Nothing like egregious again, but nothing that made it especially good. So yeah, in terms of what the category is.
Well, it's a bit messy, isn't it? It's a bit messy as a hitman. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll go bullets.
Oh, it's tough. I pulled up a
Good
list.
category, by the way. Like
Thanks.
that's a solid way to think on it.
Well, and here I pulled up a list to give me because it was hard for me too because you said that and I was like, well, wait a second. Anton Chigurh.
Yeah.
And I pulled up the highest rated list of hitman characters. That automatically blows the category.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking
John Wick, obviously.
John Wick, Leon, the professional.
Yeah.
Really good. Jules Winfield, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Is on there. John Wick is on the list. Vincent is on this list as well. Let's see. I'm looking for some ones that we would know. Yeah, and that's a lot of. And In Bruges,
Yeah.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Wait. So do you mean like, do I think like if I'm like looking at resumes and I'm like, do I think you're a good hitman, or do you mean like as in like as far as like top 10 hitmen go?
Just as like, yeah, is this a hit? Do you like this hitman?
Oh,
or?
then yeah. No, I do. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're eaching.
Yeah, I'm eaching.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought it was like get in, get out, no mess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just as a character on screen.
no, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I went too specific.
No, it's fine. No, it's great.
I was just like, I don't know.
There's a lot of freedom here.
I was like, I wouldn't hire him.
Yeah.
But then you said John Wick. I was like, well, I'm definitely not hiring John Wick. He blew up like 5 cities. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, in terms of it being a hitman movie, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I look at. So you're going I Ching now?
Yeah.
Cool. I get it. No, it's however you want to take it, man.
Yeah, I just like because as we all know, I moonlight as a employer of hitmen.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I wouldn't hire him.
Yeah. I mean, this is an investment.
Yeah.
You know.
Beware comedy clubs. Don't cross Will Abeles.
Yeah. What do you
The
mean?
pride of Hagerstown will take you out one way or another.
What do you mean
That's
you'll
Salt Lake
Venmo
City?
me? That's the. What do you mean you'll Venmo me?
Yeah.
That's the death nail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you Venmo me half of what you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. This Venmo is a little short.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, that's what you get.
Happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
I read that list and there's some I do like better, like Anton Chigurh, obviously legendary, but I still think he has his place on the list. I think he's unique enough. Tom Cruise gives it a flair that I love. I love the aesthetic. I do like the gray hair. I know it's weird, but I like how he looks. I don't know if you noticed, but they put scars on his hands. That's one thing Michael Mann talks about. We put scarring on his hands, and there's like little micro scars on his face. You have to really zoom in, but
See, I noticed that at the beginning, but it disappeared as the movie went
You're
on.
right.
I really forgot about that. Like,
you're right.
They were like, how do we save some money?
Yeah, no more
Just
scars.
another reason why like that other the visual category is just a squeak over.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot. As there was details thought about, but then they just let him go.
Maybe they wish they didn't use that digital camera.
Maybe.
Do you think it was like shot out of order, and so maybe like it was an afterthought?
Almost
where they were like,
definitely.
he should definitely have scars in his hand.
Yeah.
The whole time?
Yeah.
The whole time? Because we're almost done.
Yeah.
almost definitely.
Yeah.
I also love the triple tap signature gun shooting, where it's like the head, the two in the chest, one in the head.
Such a waste of bullets, though. Like John Wick is so clean with it. One to the knee,
Yeah.
one to the head.
Although that's a little more of a fantasaical film than this is. I think they're trying to be more grounded here. John Wick is my favorite franchise.
Look, I'm just saying, in terms of Hitman, he's, as you pointed out, even though
John
it was
Wick's
not the correct reason, but he's a very, I don't know, he's very
king.
messy, very sloppy. Like it was okay.
And he did let Max run away with his files.
Yeah.
You know, and while they were visiting, he got a little cute with the mom.
Yeah.
Max did a little out of care, or sorry, Vincent, and then Max ran away with his briefcase.
Yeah.
And threw it over.
So it's just, he's okay. I don't think he's anything special.
By the way, side rando, that bridge that they were running down when Tom Cruise was doing, of course he had to get his run in.
Yeah.
They had to use security guards like well down that highway because that's right in the middle of Crip blood territory.
Sure.
And so to keep the gangs away, they had security guards lining that bridge.
You imagine that security guard, you're just like,
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to stop them?
Yeah. Are there no bridges in Santa Barbara? Come
Yeah.
on.
He's like, we couldn't have done this anywhere else. And
Yeah.
Tom was like, no, it'd be here.
You could have made a miniature.
Yeah. It's 5-1, and I'm gonna finish with it. We did this for Drive, grading it as an LA film. La La Land is this last category.
Yeah, I mean, again, like it's a very romanticized version of LA. It would make me want to go to the city, even if I didn't know anything about the city currently. I'd be like, yeah, that's a cool looking city. So yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a I Ching,
Whatever, man.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like with an LA film too. Like kind of what you're saying. It's like you gotta nail it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, because it's the start of it all.
Yeah.
Right. So I think they did a good job.
Cool.
Yeah, I Ching.
I mean, you know how I feel about it. I think
Yeah.
Michael Mann does LA, unlike anyone else. I think Refn does a great job, but Michael Mann has his own flair. You know, if you can get me to admire LA, yeah, I like it. So the aerial shots are cool. They really use the lighting of the city. I dig it a lot, and I do like that they went to some real places in LA. The gang territory bridge.
Yeah, right.
They shot in people's apartments, like the apartment when you first meet Mark Ruffalo. That was a real apartment. That wasn't a set. It belonged to two people. They let them use the hotel, or let them use their apartment. Yeah.
Coffee pot.
Oh, I was like, what? But yeah, no. So 6-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
How do you think LA people feel when they hear like a Michael?
Oh, they're probably so used to it at this point. I feel like Chicagoans would get pissed, but the
Yeah.
LA people just don't care.
I wonder if that is a thing with LA where they're like certain directors they do like still, even though it's like the whole culture.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like,
Well, the people I know, and I know you both know these people too in LA, they probably would tell people that they were in the movie
Yeah.
or were somehow involved.
That's me back
yeah.
there. See,
Yeah.
like 18 people deep. That's me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see?
yeah, yeah.
See? I was driving to work 3 hours
Yeah.
south that day.
yeah, it's just them like accidentally in a building jerking off. And
Yeah.
they're, like they got caught and you just go through and they're like, "Is that-
Yeah.
Just someone in the corner, just
that's me.
and then they
That's me.
slowly
That's me
walk
for sure."
off.
Will you read my treatment?
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
You're going to be on the road. Tell them when and where. We have listeners all over.
All over. I am going to be all over. So I am going. So on May 28th, I head to Omaha, and I'm doing. And then I go up to
That's
Bozeman.
funny.
Yeah, I know. Then I go up to Bozeman. I'm doing Last Best Comedy. I'm opening for Adam Amawala. That is the 30th of May. And then we run around Montana, and we're doing Helena and Townsend. And then I go to. I'm kind of just like camping for 4 days. And then I go to Seattle. I'm like different parts of Seattle, but I'm doing the Carco Theater with Billy Wayne Davis. And then I go to, if you happen to be, I don't even remember what the town's name is, but if you go to Loge Campsite in Washington, I'll be there on June, I think it is.
Nice.
And I'll be doing like a show at the campsite. And then I go to Portland for a few days, just doing shows all over there. Then I go to Bend, Oregon. I'll be headlining at Craft Kitchen and Brewery on the 13th. And then I go to Boise, and I'll be doing Don't Tell and the Cowboy Room. And then I go to Denver, just doing a bunch of shows around Denver for the week. And then I do Kansas City, and then I'm back here.
Boom. We have a ton of listeners in Seattle, by the way.
Do you?
So yeah, go check him out.
Yeah,
he's
come to
incredible.
I'll also be doing Remedy Speakeasy on June 5th. That'll be in, I just don't remember the name of the town.
Cool.
Yeah, Seattle's been interesting to book because they have like scenes within the scene because just the way the city's shaped.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've never performed in Seattle. I've never performed anywhere in the Pacific Northwest or Montana. So this is gonna be a cool one.
Nice.
Helena, yeah.
And then y'all get ready for
Beautiful.
next week because we're going to be doing the Wachowskis Speed Racer, also featuring Will Abeles here. So yeah, come back next week.
Love y'all. We just did Collateral 6-1. Great job here. I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Will.
Love y'all.
The Movie Wars.